Boom, what's up you guys? It's Royce Jacob, and welcome back to the channel. A new and pretty historic stablecoin bill has just passed in the Senate, and the passing of this bill has sent shares of Coinbase and Circle absolutely soaring. In this video, we're going to go over some of the reasons as to why this bill is so bullish for companies like Coinbase and Circle. We're going to reflect upon our trading strategy for names like Coinbase that has been in play for quite a few years now, as many of you would know. And more importantly, I guess, how I plan on trading companies like Coinbase and even other crypto-related companies moving forward from here, both stocks, common shares, and call options. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the fun stuff. We are only going to be taking a look at Coinbase today because, just for full transparency, of the two, this is the only one that I have been trading and will continue to trade. So we're going to take a look at Coinbase, but Circle, as you will find out, is in a really good position moving forward. So, cheers to you if you're invested in Circle as well. Let's get to reading. As always, before we do, a like, sub, a comment go a long way. So it's much appreciated if you drop any of those bad boys. CNBC Crypto World, shares of Coinbase Circle surge after stablecoin bill passes in the Senate. This is by Mackenzie Sagalos. Key points. Circle, the issuer of the USDC stablecoin, jumped nearly 20% after the Genius Act passed the Senate. Coinbase, which co-founded USDC and earns 50% of its revenue with Circle, rose almost 10%. The Genius Act could spark explosive growth in the nearly $260 billion stablecoin market, even as the broader crypto prices remain under pressure. Okay? So, this guy is pumped. This is the CEO of Circle. This stock has been on an absolute rampage since it IPO'd just earlier this month. And to be honest, I'm kicking myself for not getting in on this one early. But, let me know in the comments, did you get in on Circle after the IPO? Or, even just before this pop would have been great. So let me know in the comments if you were invested in Circle yourself. Shares of Circle Coinbase rallied on Wednesday as Wall Street cheered the Senate's passage of the Genius Act, which would establish a federal framework for the US dollar pegged stablecoins. Circle, the issuer of the USDC stablecoin, rose 33% following the passing of the bill late Tuesday. It's a continuation of a remarkable run for Circle stock since the company held its stock market debut on June 5th. That's 2 weeks ago at the time of recording. That's insane. Shares are trading at about 180, up almost sixfold from their $31 IPO price. Just buying shares on this thing upon the IPO. It's rare. Even the day it started trading on the IPO, it's absolutely skyrocketed. But even if you got in at the end of that day, just common shares on Circle are providing out of the money call options returns. So again, if you got in early, cheers to you. You are stoked. I'm not so fortunate. But as we will reflect on up next, I have a pretty good entry in Coinbase. We've been covering Coinbase for many years, so I'm sure that's not surprising to a lot of you. But really excited about Coinbase. Coinbase, on that note, which co-founded USDC and shares in 50% of its revenue with Circle, gained more than 16%. Stablecoins have become Coinbase's biggest revenue driver after trading, with stablecoin-related income surging 50% year over year in the first quarter. The Genius Act, short for the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act, has allowed private companies to issue stablecoins under strict guardrails, including full reserve backing and monthly audits. Go check out this video if you want to know a little bit more about this. It represents the crypto industry's first major legislative win, but still has to get signed into law. The bill now heads to the House, which has its own version of a stablecoin bill dubbed Stable. Both pretty good names. Both prohibits yield-bearing consumer stablecoins, but diverge on who regulates what. The Senate version centralizes oversight with Treasury, while the House splits authority between the Fed, the comptroller of the currency, assuming that's controller, and others. Reconciling the two could take a while, especially as the House Republicans weigh attaching a broader market structure package, according to congressional aides. If the Genius Act becomes law, it could pave the way for explosive growth in the nearly $260 billion stablecoin market and drive for more revenue to key infrastructure plays like Circle and Coinbase. In an interview with CNBC's Money Movers on Wednesday, Circle Chief Policy Officer FS said the Genius Act could help with the regulatory clarity and lead to a wave of investment across the stablecoin sector. Quote, here you have a bipartisan majority clarifying the rules around the issuance of dollar-denominated stablecoins. As said, all of the investment dollars that are sitting out there ready to build the next generation of the financial system will be put to work. Coinbase earns 100% of the interest on USDC held directly on its platform. CEO Brian Armstrong has said he wants USDC to overtake Tether as the world's top stablecoin. As of now, after this, I have pretty much no doubt in my mind that it will. If you can get shared economics, I don't see why we wouldn't see more of these banks partnering with USDC, Armstrong said last month, calling stablecoins a major pillar of Coinbase's long-term growth. We'll close it out here. Coinbase on Wednesday announced a new merchant payments product that allows e-commerce businesses to accept stablecoin payments with near instant settlements and lower fees, a direct challenge to legacy payment networks. That, on top of this bill being passed, this in itself is actually incredibly bullish because that disrupts, that disrupts Visa. That's really the only payment provider that's kind of coming to mind right now. My apologies, but I'm just disrupting Visa. You guys all have card with a Visa on it. Maybe a few have plenty. That's big news. So that's huge. All right. Let me know what you guys think of this. That was a bit long, but I really did think the entirety of this article was relevant, especially if you're holding either of these companies. And fortunately for us at Waves Cap, we have Coinbase has been in my personal portfolio, aka the Waves portfolio, for many years now. It's one of the longest standing positions in the portfolio. I'm just going over my portfolio analysis newsletter from yesterday. Today's Juneteenth, so the markets are closed. Gonna bang out a few videos. Gonna record a trader tips as well, going over trading volume, etc. So if you want those members exclusive trader tips videos, those are on the YouTube channel. So join the YouTube channel. That's $5 a month. The join button is right below this video if you're interested. But back to Coinbase. So you can see here, this is a screenshot that I took on Teachable, which I'm going to shout out after I go over this. Of course, you guys know the drill. On Teachable, where I break down my entire portfolio and where I send out all of my newsletters, the platform I use to do all of this. This is a screenshot from Teachable. Okay, so around this is typically like my entire portfolio, which you can scroll through, but this is just a screenshot showing my average purchase price on Coinbase. So Coinbase, as you can see here, is up there with Riot, as these are the two largest positions in my portfolio. It's Riot, Coinbase, Palantir obviously has done a lot of work since we established it last year, and then Philip Morris also is one of the largest positions in the portfolio, just to be straight up. Okay, but Coinbase, Riot, not exactly the same, but roughly the same. That's why they're both sitting at 20%. But Coinbase was purchased many moons ago at $80, and now that the stock is trading at $295, we're looking at with the way things are going, we're definitely approaching a 4x on this return. So Circle just did that in the past 2 weeks, which you could frame it that way too, but you could also say that a 4x return on a medium to longer term time horizon, that's still a very admirable gain. And that's what happens when you play stocks like this. So right now, just be straight up. Any of you who are currently members of the portfolio group know that I'm not trading call options on Coinbase. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know the drill. That's you should never really get I said I kicked myself for Circle, but there's no point in thinking like that when you're a trader or investor. They're always going to be the ones that got away. You just have to do your best to focus on the next play at hand. And all of the call options in the portfolio, I have 4 big players that I am pretty darn confident in, and that speaks to the structure of my call options portfolio right now. So all this being said, if you want a breakdown of my entire portfolio, if you want my daily trade alerts and portfolio analysis newsletters, that's going to be the first link in the description of this video. I'll drop a pinned comment, giving you guys the link to this as well. It's going to be my complete portfolio, daily trade alerts, email newsletters. Didn't mean to zoom in like that, but it works. You get everything that this box here entails. $50 a month, $40 for every 3 months. Try it free. The reason I do free trials is because I'm so confident in the product I provide. And you can always just unsubscribe if you're not enjoying the product. But I trust that won't be the case. I trust if you do give it a shot, you'll be riding with us for a while. So welcome to the team if you do, and if not, I still appreciate you watching this video. Let's take a look at Coinbase on the charts and we'll call it a day. Coinbase, I mean, you can see right here, Coinbase's technical patterns, or just the setup leading into this rally, pretty beautiful. But I will be honest, this was needed. Okay, this news was needed. Even the news that, again, that last piece of news that we read at the very bottom here about them introducing this new merchant payments product is absolutely massive. Okay, so you got that fundamental catalyst, you got that crazy spike of volume. Again, you can see here 37 million shares traded on a 14M average. It's over 2x average shares traded on daily volume. And right now, Coinbase is on the verge of breaking above a pretty significant historic ceiling that was in play for much of the beginning of this year. You can see here we've blown past this line of longer term resistance. So once and if Coinbase breaks above, this also psychological even of $300, we aren't going to necessarily be in blue sky territory, but we are definitely going to be in, as far as the past, couple of years are concerned, going back to early 2024, we're in a really good place to have a pretty easy road higher. Again, if we, just to play it safe, if we can break above like 310, okay? So again, this news objectively bullish. We have the fundamental catalyst to complement these bullish technicals. One day RSI above its EMA, nowhere near overbought levels yet. So I mean, I still think this thing has more room to run in the short term as well as obviously the long term. One day stochastic RSI curling up, that's looking good. From here, I mean, this isn't going to happen overnight. This could take weeks. This could take months to pan out. But over the medium, definitely long term, I do think that it's very possible. Likelier than not even that Coinbase will end up testing the lines, and I say lines of resistance because we have conservative resistance here and absolute there. Again, I have a members only YouTube trader tips video going over these lines of absolute and conservative resistance, so go check that out if you want. But I do think that Coinbase over, I'll just say like by the end of 2025, there's a very decent likelihood, especially in the case that Bitcoin breaks to new all-time highs, which also seems very likely to me, that Coinbase makes its way up to these lines of long-term macro resistance on this massive megaphone ascending. I'll call this a megaphone channel because you can see the line. I'll just draw a very generic line of support right there. This is pretty megaphony. Coinbase, massive macro megaphone channel. Make its way up to those lines of resistance on said megaphone channel. At some point this year, dependent upon Bitcoin, dependent upon the greater market, the NASDAQ, the S&P. But personally, I'm an optimist. I'm feeling bullish on pretty much all quality assets. And again, that is reflected in my portfolio. Thank you for watching. If you want to join the winning team, the first link in the description. And I'll throw the description for this in a pinned comment as well. Drop a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. I appreciate you watching. And until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace, guys.